All right, hello everyone, and it's good to be back. We were on I guess an unscheduled hiatus for about 3 to 4 weeks there. And welcome to everyone. Welcome everyone. This is Verdicts of the Ancient Kings, episode 29. Well, technically 29B or 29A, depending on how you of the Ancient Kings. Episode 29.
Whoa!
Well,
I need to mute myself. I'm like, wait, why am I talking to myself? Like a weird intro. Okay, that's all fixed right there. But yeah, episode 29. 29A, perfectly catastrophic. Alongside me in the digital space is Nico Sharp. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm just winding down, listening to my kids cry themselves to sleep.
Yeah, no, I had that with my kids as well. And last week, unfortunately, my daughter had a fever, and that's why we had to postpone it one more week. But, some good news has happened over the past week. A little bit more things to talk about. We're kind of in this lull between sets and PvE content right now, but I think things will start to pick up over the next couple of weeks. And I've actually been asked to visit the Hex offices to showcase some potential goodies. So definitely looking forward to that. Although I won't be able to talk about it very, very much. So why don't we go ahead and just jump right into this week's or this next particular episode. The puzzle results. What we wanted to do was we wanted to make it a little bit more open-ended in terms of just what you could do to make certain cards good. And the card that we wanted to focus on was Hope on the Horizon for the past couple of weeks. And did you get a lot of entries, Nico? This seems to be a pretty easy type of question out there. Like anything with a good deploy effect essentially should be good with Hope on the Horizon.
Yeah, or anything that benefits from Revert. No, I didn't. Unfortunately, like over the last 4 weeks, and like some of these trickled in like 2 or 3 weeks later, we only had 4 entries. So I was like, okay, well, let's just give everyone something. So I put everyone's name there that participated. So, I guess maybe puzzles are more entertaining in some sense, or I don't know why there's a lack of people entering, because we are giving things away. Yeah. But potentially the last episode wasn't viewed as much at the end. I didn't share the puzzle question slide as an individual slide. Where I share the podcast and the show, so maybe it wasn't as well participated as some of the other puzzles.
All right, well, we'll have another puzzle at the end of this particular show. Is it X Speed? I don't even like right after we chose the winners, I actually played X Speed like in limited, and I came up with like some crazy win condition that almost seemed like a puzzle, where I think I had like Righteous Outlaw and Blindside with the Flame Guard, and I removed all of his blockers with like all of the interactions, and was able to push through lethal. And XP was just looking at me like, wow, that's never supposed to happen, right? I'm like, yeah, this actually seemed like a Verdicts puzzle right here. So yeah, some good times. So hopefully you guys are getting better out there, being able to stretch your thinking in terms of the puzzles. We'll have a much more traditional puzzle at the end of this episode. I still need to do a bunch of scratch-offs to figure out what everyone's going to win. XSpeed, I might end up giving XSpeed a full set of the Convocation 2015? Which is all the cloud stuffs, including sleeves. So hopefully XP, if you are listening to this, I hope you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, well, I'm sure one of the runner-ups would gladly take your place. So you can just share the wealth with them as well. Now, one of the things that we do like to, I wouldn't say focus on Verdicts of the Ancient Kings, but we do like to talk about is PvE. PvE was promised to be the content that newcomers can go ahead, sit down, enjoy, play the game, and basically have almost a AAA title. I mean, a lot of time and energy has gone into the development of Hex and to make it the great game that it is. And you don't have to spend a dime to play what I believe to be a AAA quality game, just in terms of the single player campaign. And what do we have, like looking at Clutch Flipperon's adventure logs and the 3 decks that you have showcased here?
So Coach started this new series primarily on YouTube, but you can also find it from his extensive campaign adventure guide on the forums. But basically what he's doing is he's trying to help out pretty much brand new players with decks that are extremely budget, could potentially only contain uncommons and commons, easily obtainable in the game. So he has shared, and he's also sharing it with mercenaries that are the first acquired mercenaries in the game. So all three of these decks, we're looking at Katsuhiro, we're looking at Augustine, and we're looking at Mayor Galloway. All of them are focused on brand new player experience. So if you're an older player and you're watching this and you have a new player friend that wants to try out the game, I'd highly suggest kind of sharing Coach Flipperon's adventure log with them. And if you can hear a screaming baby in the background, I apologize. But anyway, yeah, so all three of these lists are very unique. They're all utilizing budget cards, and then he also kind of does a gameplay video with the deck after explaining how the deck works to show people like how to best play it.
Yeah, and there you might have to do some customization depending on what particular dungeon that you're trying to run. I know some of the season or chapter 1 content, you have to bring specific fight, or not bring specific toys to specific fights in order to get through them. I actually went to go back and play some of the old like Brute Crown stuff, and I got to admit I had some difficulty even doing the Brute Crown games, just because sometimes they'll like that fight against Nog Nog where you're forced to use like a specific deck. Like I don't get all of my overpowered cards that I've been collecting from the past 3-4 years, and I'm looking at this really strange deck. I'm like, I don't know how to win with this pile. So I forget what it is like to be like, if all of us have been out there, we've been playing for so long, it's easy to forget that newbie experience where the first time you see like a Crocosaur, like you look at that card and you just scream, "Oh my gosh, what is this card doing? It completely wiped my board," and until you get a couple Crocosaurs of your own.
Yeah, and I'd even say that Brute Crown Bluff and even the Kraken dungeon after that are probably the harder two dungeons of the Equation C expansion. So, Great Machine Graveyard and Kukitan both have their challenges as well. But I think this particular list that we're looking at now, the Katsuhiro list, has some mechanics in it that can help you defeat the more challenging encounters there, like the giant mosquitoes in Kukitan. Like he has a lot of removal, like Gruesome Deed and Cheap Shot. Even though I did watch part of this episode and he ended up wiping on the mosquito encounter the first time he tried it. But this is a good primer for newer players, and also getting to see how the deck works is very helpful.
Yeah, I also got to say, I like the fact that they put the mosquito challenge early on, because like if you're trying to do like a perfect dungeon run, like it doesn't count if you lose that first encounter. You can still progress on after that. There's none of this quit and go back in. So I know a lot of the other dungeons, when you actually had lives back in Chronicles of Antrath Chapter 1, you were going up against Victor, and you're just like, the first time you see him, you're just like, I'm really am just gonna wipe and have to try to get back to this guy, huh? And it was a little bit of a negative experience, and I think a lot of people were actually really turned off by that, not being able to defeat Victor the very first time, and they never came back to this. Came back to this wonderful game. But yeah, we are looking at 3 decks here. There's the Katsuhiro deck, there is the Augustine deck, and the Mayor Galloway. If for any reason you don't have Mayor Galloway, don't kill Mayor Galloway. Yeah, like you can't kill him, right? And then you'll get him as a mercenary.
When you go to the Kraken dungeon, the very first encounter, the opponent only has 10 health, and as soon as you deal the last point of damage, he transforms and Mayor Galloway enters play. So then you have to deal another 10 damage to clear the second phase of that encounter. And if you do that without killing Mayor Galloway, you'll then get Mayor Galloway permanently as a mercenary. I think you only get that the very first time you do it.
Yeah, so don't go looking for him on the auction house. I don't
I don't think anyone sold Mayor Galloway because I don't think anyone has an extra, or is it account bound?
It is. It is a item in your inventory. I don't think it's account bound. The only other way to obtain it is if you somehow have a second account.
Mm.
Like if you had extras, that would be the only way to do it.
All right. Well, we won't dive into that into having two accounts because that's another Kickstarter talk for opening up a whole another can of worms. Now, this last Friday, they went ahead and they announced new Kismet Reserve packs. Now, if you have been hiding away since the release of Set 6, Kismet Reserve cards were all based on Silver Talon, but these were specific cards that were sold that were essentially gold sinks that Hex was trying to introduce to make sure that gold didn't suffer too much from inflate or devaluation. And I think the Kismet Reserve, this particular set, I'm actually going to invest in. I didn't buy. I don't think I bought more than 2 packs of the current set. I just didn't find them that interesting. But the Oni, I don't know, the little kitty, the little ninja kitty cats just seem like so much fun. What's your take on it?
Yeah, so this there's a lot of nice things about this Kismet Reserve pack. One, the price point is half of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of it being 30K gold, we only have to pay 15K gold. Still a lot of gold. You still have to farm a bit to get that. But then the other thing is the Oni and the Mercenary has a lot more potential to be like pretty broken. Mm-hmm. Like not like broken to the point where like, you know, you're gonna beat the game in one turn, but he has abilities that are like maybe a turn 2, maybe a turn 3 enabler that will allow you to just quickly win because of all the extra threshold you're getting. We're looking at Seki right now. He's the new mercenary that was released. You can see that he has these 2 passives, Blood Yen, the Sapphire Yang, and basically, you know, you get the opposite threshold every time you play either Blood or Sapphire. So it's pretty interesting. You also have access to any rogues, Onis, or quick cards in your deck, so you can easily go into different colors that are not represented by the shard grid. But the 2 new PvE cards that are shared in these Kismet Reserve packs are 0 cost, mm-hmm. and they both have exceptionally strong abilities, especially paired with their equipment. Like Crota's on the Swiftpaw Trickster now, I can see says it's unblockable 2/2 for 0, and then the Oni Assassin is a lethal 1/1 for 0. Swiftpaw Trickster only has 3 Sapphire threshold, and then the Oni Assassin has 6 blood threshold. So they're both going to be playable, especially with the Seki Mercenary. And the abilities, as you can see with equipment, are pretty ridiculous. Like one gives it, the Oni Assassin has a blade that gives him +1/+1 for every troop destroyed this way, and it targets troops that all share a trait. So if you're in PvE and you're going up against a zombie encounter, you could easily kill like 3 to 4 zombies in a single turn. Same for like the turreted wall encounter. Think about killing all those turreted walls in Great Mission Graveyard and making that encounter a breeze. So, and then the Swiftpaw Trickster can interrupt any target card with its chest equipment, actually with the head equipment, and then with the chest equipment, it can put that card into your hand and it loses all thresholds, so you can play it for yourself. Very, very strong, and I think they're going to see a lot of play.
Yeah, I think that like the approachability, like you being a very, very passionate PvE deck designer, saw these cards and was like, oh, how can I break this by turn 2, turn 3? Looking at Seki, I'm thinking like, okay, so turn 1, you play a Sapphire Shard, play a Mind Call. You now have a blood threshold. You could play another Mind Call. Then you can play Zentot's Zealots that are both Sapphire and Blood, and so both would trigger. And you can start like getting very, very far very, very quickly, and you're generating charges so that you can use your
your what Cat Jitsu, basic 7, draw 2 cards, then choose and discard a card with cost 2 or greater. So you really are going to have a really, really, low cost hand. So it's just going to try and dump everything out. And are there any cards that are X cost in Sapphire and Blood that are useful? A Life Siphon?
Life Siphon's one. X cost. There's the X cost Guppy Gloves or something. That's Sapphire. The other thing to note too is you might not have bought into the last Kismet Reserves pack, but Mind Snatch Raven is an awesome card, and it's also a 2-drop Blood Sapphire threshold card. So if you haven't invested in the old Kismet packs, Crota, you might want to try to get a set before they go out of rotation. They're probably a little cheaper now in the auction house than they will be later.
Oh, I don't know. Do I go buy them?
Oh, maybe someone that watches their show will send you a nice little gift.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. See, like at 30,000, like
it is expensive.
Yeah,
it's really expensive.
I wasn't even
had
spinning.
9 and I gave my buddy 4, so I have a spare one I can send you.
All right. Well, and thank you very much, and maybe I'll get a set that way. But yeah, at 30,000, I wasn't even spinning legendary chests, and just because I thought the gold cost was a bit too high, and yeah, like I definitely will try and go for the Oni set. Like these guys are just so much more fun and so much more approachable. Also, the alternate art Strangle was an absolute blast to see. I know that they had released some of the artwork on the Strangle, and people are like, "Oh, this is a new card coming out from set 7," and when you see the rest of the image, everyone's just like, "Oh, that's." I saw that, I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome!" Like a little kitty cat, and he's holding a ball of yarn still, but right, and as I was like, this is so much fun already. But yeah, we could probably spend a good hour just talking about the Onis and figuring out how we want to build those decks. One thing I did want to mention is that the party passive Pounce, it doesn't apply to Seki, does it? Because it's other troops except for Seki, right? Or
yeah, except for Seki. So only other decks that you're playing.
So yeah, so unfortunately, like Seki is the one that has 0, like those really, really good tricksters and assassins, and he's not going to be able to proc on it on himself. He also does have 16 life, so you may want to pair it with some other mercenary that can generate life as well. Athenia or the Angel of Dawn one?
Yeah, that could work.
All right, so. And moving right along, this is still going to be, I guess, a shorter show than normal until we get into spoiler season. But I just wanted to show you guys this slide. We were trying to, a little bit of a story behind this, as Nico and I were trying to make a green Duplicious Duke because we wanted to be authentic for the next, for the puzzle that you guys are going to see. And I was trying to create a Duplicious Duke in test, and because it was against the computer, it was actually going into like the Immortal formats, and I was creating cards from set 1, set 2, and PvE cards. I'm like, okay, let me just go up against Nico, and whoever gets the Duplicious Duke first gets it. I think we were playing for a good 10-15 minutes, and as you can see, we conscripted over. I conscripted over 55 4-cost cards. I was shuffling Eager Lackeys back into my deck, sacrificing them, and I was trying to draw them up as quickly with Might Singers. And yeah, I could not create a Duplicious Duke to save my life. And what was funny was like Nico didn't even get his first Eager Lackey until like I would say like turn 20.
15, 16, 20, yeah. It was really late.
And at that point I was just like, it's a matter of pride. I cannot have Nico create the Duplicious Duke. I need to do this, right? Like, so
I was even helping you. I was crackling tiding yours and everything.
Yeah, he really was trying to help me, just trying to get it all. I'm just like, there's
Like, well, what can I do? And I had to have him start like attacking so I could block with my eager lackey, so I could shuffle them back into my deck and start playing them. Like, oh no, I can't play a wild shard, draw it back up. But yeah, so this puzzle, this next puzzle that we have for you, literally took the longest I've ever had to do for a puzzle, and here it is right here. This puzzle, we're not going to say what cards are in your hand, what can you do, none of this imaginary stuff. We're going to give you all of the information. So your opponent is at 14 life, and we're playing in limited, so your opponent is running Theros, and he threw up the Great Wall of Sky Spire Scholars. He has 3 of those out there, and he's just trying to build up, get all the necessary cards to Dreadling bomb you eventually. I'm playing Grandfather Elk. You have 6 resources, 6 charges. Your thresholds are 2 wild, 3 ruby. In play, you have a Determined Bushi and a Stinkhorn. In hand, you have a Blitz and a Duplicious Duke that you got very, very quickly off of an Eager Lackey. How do you win on this turn? And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to add anything else here?
No, I mean it's more of a mechanical puzzle, so you just have to understand the mechanics around it to figure it out. And yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting one. Those scholars are pains, man. 0-6. How do you get through it?
Yeah, I know a lot of people have difficulties trying to get through those Sky Spire Scholars. So let me know. Submissions are going to be going to nicosharp@gmail.com. Once again, prizes are definitely involved. I don't know if we'll be able to give away a complete set of Convocation 2015. I do know we still have some like Gax, the Sly Rollers. I mean, I got a stack of cards to give away. It's just a matter of me scratching them off. So definitely email and email and give it your best shot. Hopefully you guys come up with the answer.
Good luck.
Good luck. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. That's all we have. It looks like King Saru just hosted us, so we have an additional 18 viewers. Yeah, definitely check out the puzzle, and maybe I'll do a little bit of streaming after this as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.